Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage Podcast. Today, Andrew has been kind enough to bless us with some of his time. So I'll kick it right off to Andrew. I'll let him tell us a little bit about himself and his business.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Balalovski. I'm a residential, commercial, and industrial real estate broker from the state of Ohio. I operate in Columbus, Ohio, and I've been in the business for about 20 years now. I started when I was 18, so just been working it ever since.
Awesome. Love it. And what's the name of your company? Where are you guys located?
My name of the company is Balalovski Real Estate. We're located in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. That's a suburb of Columbus.
Okay, wonderful. Well, tell the viewers, tell us a little bit about how you got started. And you said about 20 years ago. Tell us a little bit about how you got started there.
Sure, not a problem. I'm a second generation real estate realtor, first generation real estate broker. My father got into the business 1986, and I kind of grew up wearing the yellow jacket, if you will. He used to work for Century 21, so I mentored a little bit with him, and then when I was old enough to break off of him and form a name for myself, I just ended up doing that, and I ended up going to Capital University, where I met a lot of my mentors, some bigger real estate brokers. They mentored with me, and I was brought on as an intern for a commercial company downtown, and from there I got my real estate license after being there for about 6 months to a year or so.
That's awesome. And then that's really helpful having having someone give us that guidance, as we move into the into the real estate space, whether it be an agent, broker, whatever it may be. Awesome. So tell us about a little bit about some of the challenges that we went through. I know, in the past 20 years, obviously went through the, 08, you went through COVID, went through NAR more recently.
Yeah.
What's been kind of the biggest challenge you faced so far along the way?
Well, I've seen pretty much all of that, what you're talking about, the 2008s, battling high interest rates, low sales, and then coming out of that and going into better times. Some of the biggest challenges that I've seen is getting some buyers qualified. Now, we've been seeing the NAR changes with how we deal with commissions and disclosures, while still advocating for the American dream of property ownership. Yeah. I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle on how to navigate that for first-time home buyers. Commercial real estate, a lot of the people are a little bit more astute, and they understand it a little bit better, but just being there. Other challenges that I face is on the leasing end of everything, when we end up leasing properties, collecting the commissions, and just making sure that everyone understands their responsibilities at the end of the day. So
nice. Absolutely. And tell us a little bit about how do you kind of juggle, being on the residential side, commercial, and then you mentioned a third as well, correct?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned your residential, commercial, and then there was one that I missed.
Industrial.
Industrial as well. And that's one I haven't heard a ton.
Well, when I opened up the company, I wanted to make it a one-stop shop because I am a small brokerage with 2 other agents right now. I don't want to be able to be that person to say, no, I can't help you. I want to open arms, welcome everybody to our company, and make sure that they feel that they got satisfactory service for whatever they're looking for. So, I opened it up as a full service brokerage, and we just wanted to add on to that. So,
hey, that's awesome. And I'm sure the agents in the area love that as well. Having that option to kind of dive into any sector of the real estate industry that they can. That's going to be most lucrative for them.
Correct. But you had asked me, I'm sorry, not to get away from the question, how I toggle that. It can be a little difficult at sometimes because each discipline has its own sets of rules that you have to follow. With residential, you have the property disclosure form and lead-based paint form that you have to present, and different disclosures and paperwork. But excuse me. But I like to say that I had gotten great training, good mentors that keep me in check. I also have checklists of things that I need to present and have in my file for each different transaction and property. So just go down that checklist, and it helps me out. And I take a lot of continuing education classes that keep me abreast of all the laws and changes and everything that is happening in our environment. So,
Wonderful. Yeah, got to stay on top of the game, right?
correct,
Wow.
correct.
Well, and tell me a little bit about marketing and lead gen for yourself, especially being, that we can, reach out to agents, prospective buyers, sellers, and so many different, avenues of the real estate industry.
Sure.
How do you kind of market? How do you get yourself out there?
Well, the way that I've been doing it for the last few years, I've just been working off of referrals. That's been a good rate of return for me.
Yeah.
I also send out a lot of letters on properties that have expired or new properties. People, any place that I hear the word real estate, I just turn my head and I'm like, hey, if I can help you, here's my card. Real estate's one of the biggest, most common conversation topics. So um, just keep your ears open and don't miss any opportunities. So sometimes for sale by owner signs, they're always going to be good places that you can
Oh
pass
yeah.
your name along. Yeah. But you got to kind of be wary. Sometimes there's a reason why they're for sale by owners. So,
Yeah, that could be true too, right? Absolutely. When I
yeah,
said,
but it's just a combination of things, Jake. I've also been seeing now with the AI, that's been a big topic
oh
in
yeah,
real estate. And I got to hand it to some agents. We don't have this at our company, but they have a whole system in place. Like if your property ends up going expired on the MLS, they have a whole 9-step system where the AI bots, they will get your number and make sure they contact you. And they have the 8-touch system, and they'll send you emails, and they'll just try to win you over to list with their company. And that's something I think in 2025 we might seriously consider getting involved with.
yeah, and even I know in Alan's brokerage and at Best Homes in Phoenix, Arizona, that's something that he's just kind of getting integrated with. And they actually have it's crazy, they have AIs now that you'll send them in like your last 2 years of text and calls and emails, and it'll
Yeah,
make it'll make you texting them, responding to them, everything that you would say in certain situations.
I would
So yeah, it
agree.
can be a great tool. It can be a great tool.
That's right. But also, one thing to add, don't ever get away from like the old school stuff, like talking to people, shaking hands, networking. That stuff really does work. You have to find out what works for each individual personality. Some people like phone calls, some people like emails, text messages. You just have to feel them out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where it can be great to have, those multiple different tools at our disposal, so we get all those
I,
kind of different sectors of people, we get the old school guys, we get maybe the new school guys that are on the phones a little bit
correct.
more. We get a good mix that way.
Yep.
And do you do anything on the agent attraction side? Do you do anything on, as far as like network and marketing to agents there?
I do, and that's been heavy on my mind because we do have 2 agents right now, but as time goes on, I want to be able to have more of a group feeling. I want to develop that culture. I want people to feel like they're actually a part of something, not just being me and 2 other people. I want to be able to have the employee care days. I want to be able to take them to appreciation dinners and all of that type of things that maybe bigger companies do for their employees and realtors. But to answer your question, yeah, we do outreach. There are a couple schools here in our Ohio area that specifically specialize in real estate, and they host career nights. We'll go to that, and then also I do MailChimp advertisements. That's been pretty good. A lot of people have heard the name, if not joined us from that. Just it's the same way as you approach somebody for a listing, but instead of selling your company to sell their real estate, you sell them to entice the agent to come to work for your brokerage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And in that same vein, what, getting the hands of many can help, help us, kind of not spread ourselves too thin too, as we grow, as we get
That's
more
true.
agents, we get more, people on the back end, we get our directive operations in place. It can, make our life, or I should say, make your life as a business owner much more streamlined, being able to spend their
Yeah,
time where we're on and all that fun stuff. Right.
definitely, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. And when I know you mentioned, kind of getting or was something that's heavy on the mind this year. Have you started to enact? Have you started to do anything? I know it's kind of the first the first couple weeks of the new year it can be really tough, or it can be people times when people can be really motivated to make
Sure.
that switch, find a new office. So have you been doing anything recently, or is it something kind of just in the plans for 2025?
Well, it's kind of been in the plans for 2025. I mean, we have been doing things recently to try to attract other talent. I tell any of our agents that, look, if you see somebody and they're doing a good job, invite them in for a conversation. Let's just talk to them. I'm not going to take anyone away from a good situation that they already have, but I mean, it's worth a conversation. So you never know what you could be missing out on.
Absolutely, yeah. And if we can make their lives a little better, make their lives a little
Right,
easier, then I know
right.
that they're usually open to having that conversation. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's right.
Um,
I hope Burger King's not watching because agents could really have it their way.
yeah, you don't want to get copyrighted.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's explore kind of the future. The future of where your company's headed, where yourself is headed.
Sure.
Where do you see yourself? Kind of going over the next couple, 2-3 years there.
That's a very loaded question. A lot of the other dynamics in play for that, because a lot of our successes really comes from our agents and from our clients. I'd like to think that we have a good group of people around. So I only have good things to say about the future. Optimism. I like to branch off and explore other avenues of real estate. Like there's a development side of things. I don't know too much about it right now, but that doesn't mean I can't learn. Um, I'd like to think that we can get to the point where we have a more bolstered group, more inventory that we can offer people, and pretty much that would be really the bulk of it. I like to have a good quality over quantity,
Absolutely.
and be able to maintain that life work balance. So the main thing is, I think, where what we would need within going forward in the future is having systems in place and maybe having an office manager like I did back a few years back. So
Yeah, and systems can be huge, especially we're in some cases kind of still forced into production. We got to keep the lights on, pay the bills. Um,
exactly.
so having that system that can kind of do those things behind in the background for us,
Sure.
yeah, while we're being able to facilitate our daily tasks, can definitely be huge. Definitely, I know in Alan's case too here in Phoenix at Best Homes, that definitely has helped him make a difference. Being able to spend some time with the family, take some vacations.
Yes.
The world isn't that's probably not the best time. I was going to say the world's not on fire. It's probably not the best. I know it's going on in California right now. So
Well, you
okay over
stole
there.
the words right out of
Um,
my mouth. I was gonna say.
but yeah, but when he comes back, like I know last year, out for a month and was able to come back and everything's still running smoothly, with the proper people, the proper systems in place. So I know how huge that can be.
Yeah, and also getting your systems animated too, so that everyone knows what to do when. That's a huge plus. So
Absolutely,
it,
absolutely. And with the AI options now and everything, there's so much out there now. There's
yeah,
so many different avenues. In terms of marketing, like different strategies, all these things that are there to make our lives easier, right?
correct. I would agree.
Love it, love it. Well, and let's give some advice to some of the newer brokers, some of the newer agents out there. If you were restarting today, in this current market, what would be kind of your first steps as an agent and as a broker as well?
If I had to redo it all over again, first off, I would have started with having furniture in my office. I remember when I first started, I opened up March 13th, 2013, and I had an appointment with a couple wanting to buy a condo, and I didn't have any furniture in my office. I just had like a little picnic table and a few chairs, and I was telling them my story about how I just got started. So that would be one. Number two, I would say stick to your guns, do what you like to do, focus on the type of properties you want to sell, not what people are giving you. Sometimes that can be good or bad. I mean, with different types of properties, you get different types of clients. And then what I found out is it's easy to get stuck in one particular avenue,
Oh,
and you're always thinking in the back of your head, well, I always envisioned myself doing this versus this, and it'll just pull you along. It's like the saying, if you list quality properties, you're going to get a quality paycheck. If you list lower end properties, you qualify yourself.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. I like that.
but getting started as an agent, I can also see that you need to build your credentials, and you have to prove yourself to people. So what way you prove yourself to people, you got to take the projects and you got to run with them. So whatever's given to you. Know your costs. You have to know how much things are going to cost you, and don't be so worried about competing with the bigger guys. The
Yeah.
bigger guys are big for reasons, and usually it's generational money. You can't compare yourself to CB Richard Ellis or a bigger company that, like even a Howard Hanna or any company.
Yeah.
You're just starting off. That's a recipe for disaster. That'll make you depressed, not want to go to work, and people are going to see that in your face, and they're not going to want to work with you.
Absolutely, yeah, and that can be huge too, especially with agents having so many different options, and
Right.
in the same market, right? They have the EXPs, LPTs, that they can do kind of cloud based in a sense. Then all the other brick and mortars we may have around us. Yeah, having all that competition, we have to find ways to set ourselves apart, right?
Right. And another thing too, don't invest too much in bells and whistles. Nobody really cares for that. You can buy all the pens, the fanciest folders, and this and that. People will come to you because of the job that you do. Now, granted, I'm not saying don't act professional or don't present yourself professionally, but there can be times when you're a young entrepreneur where you're like, oh my God, I have an opportunity here. I'm going to be the best. I want to look the best. I want to do all this stuff. And then by the time you get your bills for ordering all the fancy stuff, you could potentially be broke. There's a lifeline there on how much your reserves will go. I mean, everything can there's a beginning to everything, and then there's an end to everything. So you got to watch your resources.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. Well, and hey, this has been an awesome podcast so far, Andrew. Let the people know where can they find you? Social medias, email. Where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can find me on social media. More so, they can give me a call on the cell phone. I'm kind of old fashioned on that. So my cell phone is 614-257-8123, or they can just email me at andrew@balalovski.com, and I'll be readily available for them. So.
Love it, love it. Hey, well, you guys heard him here. We'll link it down below too. If you guys are in the area, want to get in contact, looking to grow a business, looking to get into different avenues of real estate. Obviously, Andrew can definitely help us there. Being on the commercial, industrial, and residential, it gives you plenty of options, gives you plenty of opportunities there as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you very much, Jacob, for having me here on this podcast. This is a real honor. I've never been on a podcast before, and
Awesome.
I hope this podcast really elevates and catapults your business to the next level wherever you see your future going in real estate.
Hey, I appreciate it.
I'm always open to other conversations too. If you ever want to give me a call again, I welcome the opportunity.